Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Smith with Tree Service Digital. And this is our series of interviewing experts in the tree care industry, some business owners who have scaled their business from start to multiple millions, and other people in the industry that have compelling stories and things they want to share with the tree care, tree service, arboriculture industry. And today we have a special guest, Edward Morrow, certified arborist with Tree Stars Publishing. He's going to share some things about what he's been up to and kind of the younger generation in the tree care industry. Edward, welcome aboard, man. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Wesley. Thank you for having me, and I'm excited just to kind of share with peers and fellow arborists.
That's great, man. That's great. Well, I guess let's roll back a little bit. Do the Wayback Machine. What got you into the tree service space? Like, how did you get started or get the bug?
Yeah, fortunately, I grew up in a tree service family, so from a very young age was just acclimated to tree work, and as I got older, I thought I wanted to become a CPA. So I started studying accounting when I went to college, and I would always come back on the weekends, and summers would be tree work time for me. And over a decade of accounting, I just kind of realized, like, I think we always want to go back to that fun, doing that fun stuff. And what was fun to me was being outdoors, being in nature, just meeting people, meeting interesting people, and we get that a lot as arborists. We're always traveling, and it next thing you know, I kind of transitioned, and it was a slow process from doing accounting like full time, helping companies in the service industry. And next thing you know, I was got certified as an arborist, and I was doing production. I was climbing trees. I was learning how to, look at jobs, do work, and it just kind of went from there. I think it was like I had a relapse. I wanted to go back into nature, go back outdoors, and I was like, this is what I really want to do. I want to do this. So I just started studying, learning more about arboriculture, and then from there, it just kind of it's just the my career just kind of morphed a lot, and I started to experience different facets of arboriculture, and I think that's what a lot of people, definitely a lot of younger people, they think it's just like toting a chainsaw, sawdust in your face every day, and that's cool. I like that part of it too, and that is one aspect of it. But I later got into doing tree risk assessments and consulting, and then that later turned into me doing a lot of educational neighborhood walks, and that was fun, and it still is fun. And then I later got into writing because I was gaining so many different experiences from doing the practical tree work, understanding trees, meeting interesting people, learning a lot of life lessons in the process. So I got into writing, and I really wanted to just do a business book for arborists because a lot of arborists started to the secret was out. They knew I was an accountant, and they would ask me a lot of questions, either if I was working on jobs or I would get people contacting me. They would ask me a lot of accounting questions. And so I was like, I think it'll be good to write a resource for our industry. And that later became a fictional series because I was like, I don't want to just do a regular book. I want to have some real characters. And I created a arborist. And this arborist, his backstory was so just so complex that became two characters. And I was like, you know what? I can split this up. And next thing you know, I had like 50 characters in my head. And I just started writing stories. And I wanted to kind of clear up a lot of misconceptions about the industry and just what you can do with a lot of creativity and how you can just, you can create your own journey and path in the bowl culture with that. I think a lot of people don't really understand. So
That's great. Yeah, yeah. And
I
you're in
know that was a
Georgia.
lot, but
No, that's great. Thanks for giving us the backstory. I think it'll help a lot of people just kind of understand how you got into the business too. And I know what you mean about the home services industry, just being out day to day, going and meeting homeowners or business owners, and you're just out in the field. There's something new every day. It's unpredictable what's going to happen each day. My dad had a plumbing service company, plumbing repair and installation business for 30 years. And I worked with him growing up, right? And then on the weekends, if it was summertime, or even during the week, sometimes if it was summertime and we were out of school, I'd get woken up early and I'd have to go out on the jobs and go help and stuff like that. So I kind of grew up in that mode too, where you're in the truck, you're in the van, you're going out to the jobs, and I enjoyed it too because everybody's house is different. The challenge is always different. So similar with tree service, you're still going out, you're just going job to job and things like that. And again, it's just it's a variety of things that you're doing each and every day. So that's cool. And then also your background in accounting, that's going to end up helping you in the business of tree service, just kind of knowing the numbers and all of that, which a lot of people maybe learn later when they have to figure it out, right? As they grow their business. So you already kind of have that from the foundation. So that's good.
Yeah.
So awesome, man. Anything, so with the book, so you got the characters and that's kind of going. And what's kind of the goal with the book? Just to kind of have some content for the tree service industry to kind of bring it to life a little bit, I guess.
Right. I would say primarily um, to help us really respect what we do, because unfortunately, I meet a lot of tree care professionals. They're having a hard time, and that hard time could just be they don't feel like they're being respected as a professional. They just kind of feel like it's just a day-to-day grind. Uh, they don't like have like a vision or just like a I guess like they feel kind of stuck, So I wanted to just create something to show like, you know, to different characters, but having different professions within the industry as well. So helping us as a whole understand like, what we do is very valuable because sometimes I think we lose sight of that. We lose sight of the value of what we do because either we may be struggling from a financial standpoint or we just don't feel appreciated. We kind of I just wanted to kind of like paint us as what we are, and we are, in my opinion, we're superheroes. We do some amazing stuff, from the physical aspect to climbing trees to revitalizing trees, preserving trees. That's knowledge and like skill that a lot of people don't want to do or they don't know about. But regardless of what you do while you're living here, we need trees. So to be able to work with trees, I think that's just like a special power, and a special power and trait that we can learn. And it's just cool. And also just teaching, we're going into a very a different age, a very digital age. And there's going to be a lot of opportunity. There's going to be some changes. So to show like younger people, like, you know what, you can have a viable career with trees. Like it's so much you can do. It's all about your creativity, your drive, your imagination. We need trees again, like I said, and there's so many opportunities. And unfortunately, a lot of kids just think, hey, this is like just manual labor, and there's no upside to this. And on the contrary, it's a lot of upside. It's a lot you can do. So just helping them, helping us as a whole kind of get through the struggles of like the industry, but also helping like this next generation, just the youth understand like, hey, I can go down this path, even if it's not full time. This is something that's viable, something I can create a career in. So it's kind of, twofold.
Yeah, no, that's great. A lot of great tips there. You're right. I mean, trees, as we continue to increase in population and all of those types of things, like there's a whole different side of the tree care industry. I think that, like you said, like sometimes when people first get started, it's all about the trimming, pruning, removal, land clearing, that type of side of the business, which is awesome. A lot of that business to go around. Lots of areas of the country are tree heavy, tons of trees. But then there's also that other side of the business where people are concerned about the trees and they want to save the trees and they want to learn kind of what makes the trees thrive and what doesn't and things like that. And that's where the arborist comes into play. And then also like the tree healthcare, plant healthcare side of the business, I think is going to continue to boom and have like an exponential growth curve because that's just going to be a side of the business that people are more concerned about, especially in certain areas of the country. That's just going to be part that kind of flourishes. And we've seen it just in the industry over the last 6 years. Like a lot of people have a good established tree service business, but then when they bolt on the tree healthcare, the arborist consulting and all of that to their business, it grows like double sometimes because then there's a whole nother section of the local area that wants that. And then also your skills in the arboriculture industry, like when you are a certified arborist, you get all these other opportunities that open up to you that you didn't have before because you just did the traditional tree services before, right? So you can start even actually working for some of the local tree companies that don't have a certified arborist. You can be that person that they go to. So can you
Right.
speak on some of that? Is that kind of how you've kind of transitioned a little bit or just kind of evolved over the years?
Oh, sure. I actually started, I got into plant healthcare as well. And um, I think, Wesley, you really feel like a complete arborist when you get into plant healthcare. And I thought climbing was addictive, but when you get into plant healthcare, you feel like a true like tree doctor because you're actually helping. Like you, when I did my first air spade and great client, I had all this dust on my face and it was like just dirt all over the truck and just it was a mess. It was dirt everywhere. I had a suit on top of my work clothes and I had dirt in the pockets. I still had dirt in my pockets. It was just messy, but I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Like I actually like I feel like this tree just got better. Like when I was adding the the compost and doing the mulch. And as I was wrapping up, I was like, this tree feels, I feel like it feels healthier. Like I feel like a completed arborist. I finally have like doctored on a tree. So doing that and from my own business, but also helping others like implement like best tree care practices with their plant healthcare. It's been like it's been good because you learn about different trees in different areas too, and different arborists may call me from across the country, and they have different issues, but helping them say like, hey, have you considered this? Like, have you considered, plant healthcare can also be like uh, specialized pruning. It could be like just adding mulch down. It could be the air spading. It could be adding like mycorrhizae. So it's different facets to it. So helping people understand, you could just like you can link up with another company. Like if you have an air spade, you can link up with a tree service that doesn't have that, and that can be like an add-on service. If you're doing like even like if you know how to prune very well and pruning like a mature tree, knowing how to, if you're doing like reduction pruning and you know how to do it in a very like professional way, that could be a service that you can add on or help someone else implement that service or train a climber on how to correctly prune like a mature tree. So it's like it opens up so many like conversations and avenues for growth for yourself, but also for other companies, which is, very interesting. And as people, I think, are like they get more into technology, they get outside of nature. They're not used to like doing things outside. That plant healthcare knowledge becomes like even more valuable because people just don't really know. Even I was talking with a group a week ago. I was telling them even though people may not have uh, like they didn't know anything about climbing a tree, but or like they weren't arborists, they still had some type of knowledge about trees because they either they had to burn firewood or they had homes around more trees or they grew up in rural settings. They had some type of knowledge of trees. So even though, like you said, we have more development, you may have a lot of people that don't know about trees. It opens up a lot of opportunities for education, outreach, working with neighborhood associations. I later got into that, and that was very fun, especially when you're talking with people that they want to preserve trees, they really care about trees, and curating like these just engaging workshops with people, helping them. And what you're basically doing, you're helping them understand plant health care, but it helps you as well because you're learning. You learn about what type of questions people may have, and some things that we take for granted, some people just don't know. They may not know how to like correctly install mulch or how thick mulch should be, or why a mulch volcano is bad, or what time of the year to prune a tree. So you're learning like what's on the minds of people, and that is good because that reinforces what you should be learning, and it helps you like simplify because a lot of times, even I talk for myself when I started teaching, it would be a lot of techno babble and just a lot of over the top words and just ANSI standard type. I got the ANSI book right here. Just like big words, but learning how to break those words down, make it simpler for people, and that really helps you connect with your audience. And then what you can do with that, you can use that as a marketing piece. So you could talk about, how you helped or how you simplified in pruning, removals, plant healthcare to the common person. And that goes that goes big. That's very important when it comes to positioning yourself as a professional as well in the industry. So yeah, it's just a lot of different things can kind of open up.
Absolutely. I mean, that's kind of the name of the game. And you touched on a few things there too. It's like once you learn the ins and outs of like the trees and the tree species, because I would assume that, regionally, and I mean, we all know this, regionally, there's different types of trees. So if you're a certified arborist in Georgia or California, there's going to be a whole different subset of trees in those markets. So you kind of get familiar with your area of the country and the local trees, and you know more about it. And knowledge continues to expand as you keep doing it. And you're right. I mean, there's so many people out there that are hungry and fascinated with trees and what's wrong with them. How can they better, keep them thriving? Because, even in our neighborhood, like you just ride around and you'll see 1 out of 10 trees needs help. Right. And it's not always the solution is just to remove it. Sometimes people still want to keep that tree, but they don't really see a way to do that. And if they don't talk to a certified arborist or somebody who knows about tree healthcare, plant healthcare, then they're not going to really know what to do other than take the opinion of a tree service company that may just want to remove it, which, sometimes you do want to remove it and there's no way around it. Right. But there's other circumstances where you can save them, keep them, and just kind of better prepare for the future for that tree and keep it going. And you touched on a few things too with just your knowledge base and being able to simplify the tree work and kind of not dumb it down, but just make it very simple for like homeowners and people that are novices, like what you're going to be doing to help their trees. And I think, what do you think kind of during this process of you kind of pivoting to the arboriculture side and the tree healthcare, plant healthcare side of things? What do you think's been like the best way? People are probably wondering about this, right? Or if you get any questions, guys, comment below and we'll answer your question a little bit later if you're on YouTube or on the podcast or whatever. But if you had to say like what's been the most helpful probably for just kind of getting your name out there and your knowledge of the trees and people calling you for those consultation services and other tree businesses reaching out to you to do that for them as well. What's been a good angle? Like what's been kind of like your best kind of outreach or marketing approach for that?
I would say the doing the neighborhood walks and events, and this is something, and this is like, I guess twofold, really. You can go out and educate people, and to me, that's like some of the best marketing when you educate someone, when you make a smarter um, homeowner. Because when they're smarter, they make the best decision for the tree. If you can impart knowledge onto them, but also it puts you in the role of an advisor, an expert, a trusted advisor. You can do that. And I think it creates this relationship. It's something powerful about being in person. I think when you're in person, people can feel your energy. They can feel that, if you care for trees, they can really feel that. If you are a teacher at heart, which I think the best marketers are, you teach, you do that in a very ethical way. If you can teach people things and people learn and they get so much value, that is very powerful. That is very, very powerful. And guess what? They may not become a client, but you have given them value. And that's one of the greatest things you can do I think as a business owner, as a marketer, as an arborist. So when you go out and teach people things, it allows them, it kind of puts you in the spotlight. It kind of puts you in the driver's seat because again, they can really feel like your energy. And that's very key. That's very key. I think that they can't really get it on a phone call. They can't really get it if you're doing like a lot of stuff online. But when you take people out, you take them on like a walk, for example, and a tree service can use this from a marketing standpoint. You show them. I like to show people the tools. I like to pull them into my world of arboriculture from when I started climbing. You see the Protos helmet, you see the the saddle, the unicender. I bring you into when I started consulting. That's the mallet. That's just measuring tape, diameter tape, plant healthcare. I bring out an air spade. I bring out mycorrhizae. I will bring out uh, just different like tools, and then I will bring out some creative stuff. Like when I started wood turning, when I started writing. So I take them on this journey and I show them the magnitude of tree care. So what they're doing and what I'm doing, I'm allowing them to come into my world, but now they have a newfound respect for what we do as arborists. They see like, wow, this is multifaceted. And it's the same thing as if you're working with a youth program, you're showing them now you're showing them the different career opportunities. But from a homeowner standpoint, you're showing them the different services too, because you know what, we can come out and assess a tree, we can use plant healthcare, we can climb a tree if we need to remove it or prune it. So you're taking them on this journey. And this is what I do, bringing my accounting knowledge. And this is how I kind of create like this teaching niche, as you will. You said a good point about removals. A lot of times people think removal is the answer. Removal, removal, removal. That's how you remove risk. So I like to plant that as the last thing in their minds, because if we use removal as the last thing, we can retain canopy cover more. So I like to kind of take on and use this 5 step framework. The first thing is, can we isolate the target? You know, and from an accounting standpoint, think about it like, or like from when I was in the startup world, minimal viable product. What's the minimal thing you can produce with low cost or no cost? So if I can teach a homeowner how to look at a tree and say, like, you know what, this tree looks bad, but maybe if you don't park your car right here and you park your car over here, or you take this place set, or you just restrict the area, you've saved money immediately. Like that, you didn't have to spend a couple of $1,000s to remove this tree. The next thing, if you can't restrict the target, and this is like with the tree risk assessment framework, I just take that and I make it very palatable for a homeowner. So we have target management. Next thing we have is pruning. If you have a little limb that is decaying, can we just prune it out instead of removing? Maybe the next step is plant healthcare. Maybe we have a lot of dieback, but maybe instead of just removing this tree, we can do like some, we can add some type of amendment to the soil. We can do air spading. We can invigorate the area for the tree. Next thing, hey, maybe we do have some rot and decay, or we may have a split. Can we use a support system? Especially if this is a tree you want to retain. And then finally, let's look at removal. So what I've done, I've taken this homeowner on a journey. It's a financial journey as well, because it's showing you there are many options you can do besides spending a lot of money to remove a tree. But I also teach them, there's a time to remove a tree if it's hazardous and it's a threat to people and property. I try to teach them, don't be silly. It's a time to remove a tree, but you have these other options as well. What it does, it opens up their mind to the magnitude of tree care, and it shows if you can, communicate and articulate and educate them in a simple way about those 5 different areas, those options, which allow them to save money. If they don't let fear overtake some people, they're bent on getting that tree removed, and sometimes no matter what you say, you can't change their minds. But if you can help them kind of see those different aspects of tree work and tree care, and how you go from a cheap option to a more expensive option, a light bulb can go off in their heads. And that's a good way to position yourself as a professional. So if you want to go out and do these like neighborhood walks, like you will not only like just help educate people, you'll meet a lot of interesting people in your neighborhood, because people that like trees are pretty interesting people. So it's just a good way to get your company out and to be out in the flesh. So these neighborhood walks have been very beneficial for me, and not just from a business standpoint, just meeting, again, interesting people, meeting different arborists, meeting different people that have that know about horticulture, and learning about propagation, and learning about. I had a few people on the walk. They were musicians. They were into. I think one was like Dover Road They did bluegrass, they did jazz, rock, southern rock. They played in bands across the country, and it was just so cool to learn about like music because they talked a lot about chord progression, and that's basically like what I'm teaching in a different way. Like a chord progression is like just to me, it's like the most appropriate set of notes to play to make a song sound pleasing. And when I teach that 5 step process, it's like a chord progression. It's a progression of the most logical thing to do in a tree care scenario. So it's just you meet a lot of interesting people too, but it's again, it's a good way to kind of position your company, just being an educator and a teacher. So
Love that, man. Love that. That's great stuff. Ed just shared some very valuable tips. So if you guys are looking to kind of get your name out there as an arborist, somebody with knowledge, I like taking people through that progression, right? Here's your options on this tree. There's not just one thing you can do. You can do all of these different things, and here's what we suggest. And I think people appreciate that, right? A lot of people have never heard any of that from anybody about their trees, right? So it's
right.
probably refreshing to hear it because there's less arborists out there than there are tree service companies. So I think it really positions you as kind of be a unique resource in the community, and that people will refer around because they're going to think of that person that they knew and they spoke with about their trees, because they're not going to know a lot of people that know that depth of knowledge on the tree care industry, right? So when you know that, I think it positions you as the expert. Well, this has been awesome, Ed. I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time, man. I appreciate you being on. And do you have like a consulting service that you offer other certified arborists where they can reach out to you, or is it just you like to just share things? We'd love to have you back sometime, too. So if you
Oh,
want to
cool.
share your contact info or anything like that, go ahead, and we can also put it in the description on the video and in the podcast. But yeah, let everybody know if you have any kind of services that you offer, or resources, those types of things.
Right. So I do a lot of so I do have a tree company, so that's production and also um getting more into the plant healthcare and then doing the educational series, working with different um neighborhood associations and also municipalities and just different outdoor education organizations along with the writing. One of the best places will probably be LinkedIn. You'll see like some of my work, LinkedIn or info@edwardthearborist.com. But I have some tree services I help out. But if you have questions, you can just shoot me a message and we can just kind of go from there. So
Awesome. And on
and
LinkedIn, it would just be Edward the Arborist, or would it be your full name on there?
oh, you can do Edward Morrow, and you'll
Okay.
see
Yeah.
arborist. Uh-huh.
That's great. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions for Ed, or about the side of tree healthcare, plant healthcare, that type of thing, reach out to him on there. I mean, I'm sure he'd be happy to help you, or could be some other things he could help steer you in the right direction on, and things like that. Well, cool, man. Any other parting words for aspiring arborists out there, maybe on the up and up, coming up right now?
Yeah, I would just say think long term, like think like a tree, think long term. Uh, plant good seeds and just continue to work. This industry is again, it's a lot you can do, a lot of opportunity, and I think the biggest thing is just hanging in there. Just staying in there. Um, and you can just I think with imagination and creativity, you can chart your own course. So if you're in the tree care industry, you're in a good industry. Just continue to just push on. That's the main thing. And just thank you, Wesley, for having me, and thank you for what you do and like your content. I'm on the road a lot, so I'm always listening to just the different guests you have. Some I've met before, so it's good to see them really share their knowledge, and thanks for having this platform for us to just contribute to the industry and make it better. So
No, that's why I did it, man. Thanks for letting me know you get some value out of it. I appreciate it. We do it just to kind of get the awareness out there and have people, talk about what they're doing, and because people in the industry are always interested in the same industry, different angles and business opportunity, business people, and different experts in the industry. So we like to just kind of put it out there, and we take a similar approach too with training, right? And education on marketing and things like that, the way you can grow your tree service business. So we do kind of the same thing. We take the same approach. We like to just share everything we know. And ultimately that helps people make that decision that we're the right fit to help them grow their business too. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And yeah, come back again, man, and share some more stories. If you get any kind of compelling stories coming up anytime soon, let us know, man. Welcome
Okay.
back anytime. Yeah. So
Thank you, Wesley.
you're welcome. Thanks so much, Ed. Thanks for being on. This has been another episode of the Tree Service Marketing Profits Podcast. And again, if you're on YouTube or the podcast, we're on all the major podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Google, all the main ones. Subscribe to the podcast. We got plenty more episodes coming up down the road. And if you're on YouTube, comment. If you got any questions, we'll come back and answer your questions. And we'll have plenty more of these coming up. And we'll see you on the next video. Talk soon.
Thank you.